I just said whatever.
Maybe we could talk first about Joel's show.
Yeah, I did want to talk about Joel's show for sure. I don't know much about it, but he had one.
I saw some of the live.
Oh, did you? Uh,
Well, maybe I was just expecting more live. But, granted, it's his first show.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez. What's good, Jeff?
Good. It's good. Man, kind of caught me off guard. I didn't know we were going live. Normally, I'll get your link and then I'll repost it. But man, I must be
Stupid YouTube again? Or stupid Facebook?
Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah, I'm on Facebook, so I guess let me get on YouTube. Bummer, man. Got Zuckerberg again, huh?
Yep. Stupid suck. On YouTube. Post. Anyway.
Just have to share the link.
Yeah. So, yeah. Just
Ooh.
sharing the link, I guess. Anyway, as we get going over here, wow, YouTube's way behind, like almost a minute behind. Where the hell happened to YouTube? Anyway, I just wanted to start off by kind of talking about they had an event at Mello's Auto again. So
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah, Nyman's
friend
old place.
Joel.
Yep.
Yeah,
Friend of
yeah.
the show, Joel. So yeah, so he was out there doing a show. I don't know how the attendance was. You said that he went live, so I don't know if that was just live during like brackets or qualifying, or what did you see?
I know for sure he did Top Dog live.
Okay.
I'm not too sure about the brackets, but man, he was, how I mentioned weeks ago, like he's going all in. His setup, the DB drag tent, he's got this wireless headset,
Oh.
which I'm assuming he uses as a mic. I
Uh-huh.
don't think he was making phone calls on it, but yeah, so I was like, man, he's all in. Got a cool shot from the vehicle's point of view to the tent.
Oh. Okay.
Double monitors.
Oh, so he set
Yeah,
his
I
camera
did.
at behind the vehicles.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I like it. I'm always afraid that a car is gonna, by chance hit it and then it's gonna ruin the camera. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
I had the same
But,
concerns. That's why
no harm to him.
I never set it up that way. I tried a couple of times,
Yeah.
and it created some logistical issues for me trying to run the show.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of why I got away from trying to do it that way. But that's cool. I mean, I know he was doing the show. Dave Bradshaw, I heard, showed up. So that's something. But yeah, I heard Moses was there. Lord of Bass guys were
I saw a
there.
picture of them.
There we go. I see your test. When did you write the test? Just now?
Just now.
Okay, good. So it's not too far behind on the chat. So that's good. Anyway, if you guys are watching this live on YouTube, please like, share, whatever. But definitely share it on Facebook because once again, Mark Zuckerberg got us, and we cannot post on Facebook for some reason. And not only that, but it's deleting all my old shows. There's the guy
Oh,
we
is
were
it?
talking about. Yeah. So it's deleting all the old T.W.I.C.A shows.
I know he was doing this thing, and it said like now live videos are only like 30 days.
Yeah.
So you have to download them, and I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
that's.
Download them to what?
And I was thinking about the live video that I had from World Finals uh, in
Oh.
Owensboro a while back. That was like 2 hours long, and I'm like, how am I gonna? What am I gonna download that onto my laptop? And I was like,
hmm Hey, Joel. How's it going in the chat? Congratulations on hosting that event this weekend. Hopefully, it turned out really well. It was great to see somebody back at Mello's Auto Repair doing shows. That's one of the OG places of California.
yeah.
So, by the way, speaking of California, Jeffrey, how you doing? Are you plenty far away from the riots and stuff? I think you're pretty far away from those, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty far away. Just watching it on the news, just really heartbreaking. But yeah, it's tough to watch. Tough to watch for sure.
Yeah. People destroying their own community, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Um, again, fortunately, we're pretty far away. Although I did hear of some protests starting up near me, but
mm,
hopefully it won't be as bad as
yeah.
LA right now.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Tried calling my sister. She's near Universal Studios. I don't know how close that is to the
To
riots.
downtown, it's pretty far.
Is
It's
it?
pretty far. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know exactly where the riots are.
hmm
I know they're not in Compton this time. So,
I think it might be near.
oh really? It's near
Yeah, it might
Watts
be.
and Compton and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Oh
might be
really?
nearby.
Hmm. Yeah, I was there during the Watts riots back Rodney King days. So,
Oh, wow. Really?
yeah, I lived right around the corner, like where Reginald Denny got pulled out of his truck.
Yeah.
I don't know, less than a block away from there. So
Hopefully it doesn't get that bad.
yeah, but yeah, for you people that don't know, LA's in a world of hurt right now, and you know,
Mhm.
hopefully everybody stays safe and whatnot, and um, you know, hopefully if there's any base heads in that area, just stay safe and you know, protect what's yours.
I
So
did see one basehead that I know that lives out there says he's going to work in
mm,
LA and send him some prayers, but
okay,
and followed up with them, but hopefully worked out okay.
all right. All right. So one thing we wanted to, I guess, talk about was anybody in the chat want to chime in? Make sure you share on Facebook from YouTube, right? So share the link. Let's get as many people as we can on here. Let's, if we can get some more, uh, what is it called, subscribers, we're going to be so much
Mhm.
better off here. So if you
Yeah, and
guys,
speaking of YouTube, I was
yeah.
checking out the views and it almost like tripled,
Oh, really?
which I'm thinking, okay, because we were only available on YouTube, right? So
Uh,
that's like where everybody was watching it from. Or, Bill Temple is just a really popular guy and he had all his friends and associates tune in, which could be the case as well.
yeah, it could be the case.
hmm
Let's see here. Nope. I'm trying to figure out how to. Oh, there we go. Share, copy link, and then go to Facebook and start doing it that way, huh? So anyway, so I was thinking I don't have a guest this week. Oh, speaking of which, I sent you what AI suggested as guest.
Yeah, I kind of got a kick out of that. So I do not know where they got that information. Well, most of it was pretty incorrect, but it was close. It was close.
Okay. Um, so what did you think of the people it suggested?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it just like pulled like obviously that's how that works. It just pulls information from everywhere and then formulates the artificial intelligence. I thought that was kind of cool. I when you sent it to me, I was kind of reading it, and I was in hopes of, oh, did we show up on it? Is that why you're sharing it? But
So we actually did show up on one of them as the
oh,
number one
okay.
car audio podcast.
Oh, nice.
Um, I don't remember which one it was, but yeah,
Hmm.
we did show up on one, and I was like, all right, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we'll
Uh,
take it.
yep. Let's see, Autorama. This sucks sharing it on YouTube like this on Facebook.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
right. I was sharing it on the group
then
last
you
week.
then uh, you got distracted by me.
Yeah,
Not now. But let's see. I'm trying to think of the other ones. We do Minnesota. Oh, Team Mini. Team Mini's a good one.
oh yeah.
Share it with him. All right. Well, one thing I was thinking we can talk about was, what's ideal for you in a subwoofer when
Hmm.
you're coming up with a subwoofer. Any ideas, BL or anything, or what do you when you were competing? What were you looking for as a subwoofer?
Availability.
That was a
Um,
big deal, wasn't it?
yeah, you know, I never was really one for uh, parameters
Uh huh.
and stuff like that. Like you're saying, the BL. I know probably have been like maybe about a year or so ago when I was working at Crossfire. There was a person that called and was asking for all these parameters and to the point where Roger was like, that does not have anything to do, with the subwoofer performance. Why does he need to know that? But I guess it turns out he was given all of that information to the box builder. The box
Oh,
builder, inputs it into
a
whatever
program.
program,
Yep.
and then it kicks out the enclosure design.
Yep.
Um, so I mean, I was never really one for that. Um, I was kind of more of a hands-on testing it. I never had like a program. I know I think I saw Jeff Wu one time hooking his woofer up to the computer and then bam it had all these graphs and information and I'm like is that like real world? I know in probably some applications it is,
Um.
but then you have to figure vehicle um, restrictions and stuff like that. So it's a good starting, place, I guess. But
Yeah.
I've never really took those numbers into consideration. I know you worked with it,
I have.
so I mean, maybe from your experience, what can you tell us is the best thing to look for?
Well, if you're trying to go low power, obviously efficiency, right?
Efficiency. Yeah.
Um, so for people that don't understand that, if you look at the sensitivity on a driver, the higher the number, the more efficient the driver is. Well, that only works if you're running low power. So what happens is the subwoofer will hit power compression early. So you'll max out the potential of the driver at such a low wattage. So when you're looking at these things that are, say, 86, right? 1 watt, 1 meter, 86 dB versus a 92. The 86 might have a power handling of 4,000 watts, say, right? That means to the rough way to figure it out. So say something's 92 dB, right?
Hmm.
So and it has a say 300 watt max RMS. If you're to reach that potential for that driver, um, you want to get it that roughly that 300 watts. Now, after you hit that 300 watts, it's just going to tail off drastically how well it performs. Okay, so when you're at
So not
86,
as loud or not.
potentially not as loud, yes,
Okay.
um, because then you get into driver compression. Then, at the same token, if you're looking at one that's say 86 dBs, then you hit that 4,000. Now you're almost at about equivalent as that 800 watt sub. But now you can add more power and extend that woofer further, and you're going to get louder potentially. Your potential for loudness is greater with um, a lower sensitivity driver. But it only works to an extent, right? Because it's a exponential curve, works both. It's parabolic, goes shh, right? So you're trying to find the peak of the curve so that you can get the most movement, because the how far the driver moves and the frequency is what produces the SPL. So the further you get it to move, the higher your potential for SPL is.
Get the what to move the like
The
the
cone
cone
itself,
or
yes, the
oh
excursion
right.
of the
Oh
cone.
yeah, the excursion.
Yeah. Didn't Crossfire have like some stupid, crazy excursion cone, or no?
Not any more unique than
Okay.
like any other companies.
Oh, okay. So they didn't weren't doing like the folded surrounds and stuff like that.
Right, right.
Okay. There's Eric Hansen finally popping in. Good afternoon, Eric.
Oh, he's
Eric.
finally off of TikTok. What was it? No, that Twitch, and he's
Twitch.
on
Yeah.
he's on YouTube.
Anyway, so back in the day, I was watching you on Meta 2, on my Meta 2. Oh, he's
Oh,
watching us in 3D, and like he's in the
whoa,
room with us.
whoa.
Oh, are we? um. Anyway, the we I remember Scott with FI was
Mhm.
trying to do some cool stuff, and the limiting factor is the surround, and then the other limiting factor is the spider, right?
Okay,
Because they
so
can
the
only
suspension,
flex. Yeah, the
the
suspension
suspension.
system.
Yeah.
So Scott had a pretty cool idea. I don't remember what he used for the surround. I think it was a multi-fold surround. So it
Hmm.
could extend like almost 2 inches, right? So it was like huge. And what he used for the spider was just a bunch of springs.
Springs.
Yeah. So they
Interesting.
were webbed springs going all kinds of different directions. And
Okay.
it instead of being a spider like a normal spider, it,
Hmm.
it was a spider but made out of springs. So it would allow it to extend that full 2 inches. Mike
Kind of
Watson popping in.
like a trampoline, kind of like springs holding a trampoline together. Oh,
Very
you said
similar.
cross.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. So
Interesting.
the same
Interesting
idea.
concept.
Imagine
Yeah.
the springs holding the cone
Yeah. Okay.
and no spider. So none of the flat thing like a trampoline that has the cloth in the middle. There was
Hmm.
none of that. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, so it was an interesting concept. Oh, there he goes. He popped onto Twitch. Erickson Twitch says hello from Twitch. But anyway, yeah, no, it was definitely a cool concept.
Hmm.
I don't think he ever did anything with it. Its efficiency was super duper high. Yeah,
Hmm.
Mike Watson says I can see that working kind of. It was so the efficiency was so freaking high that at like 100 watts you maxed out the subwoofer. So
Because you're getting the full excursion out of it
yeah,
with that particular suspension.
yep, and it didn't recover well. So that's part of the reason why we use such stiff suspensions and stuff,
Hmm.
is to help the driver when it extends to recover and to keep it from blowing outside the gap,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
The Twitch name. What is our Twitch name, Eric? I think it is T.W.I.C.A. T_I_C_A. I think that's what we are. But anyway, yeah, that's like I said, it was a really cool concept.
Mhm.
Some of the things that they'd done in subwoofers in the past was a square driver, right? Did you ever play with the L7s?
No,
No.
no.
Twitch has
This,
horrible lag, he says.
uh,
Um, anyway, so you never use the L7s or the Solo X's?
I think in like theory, theoretical,
Uh huh.
should outperform a round subwoofer.
More square
Uh,
inches.
but you would think that more people would be running them. I mean, there were, I think, who was running kicker at the time? Was it Michael Hughes running kicker at the time? I'm not sure if it
Scott
was
Sanborn was.
okay.
Um,
Did
Miguel
he
Ayala did.
compare?
Yes.
Uh, okay, so what were the results?
So until I was able to create a higher power driver, a driver that can handle a gobload of power, the Solo X was outperforming my round 12s.
Hmm.
Just the round 12s did, of similar. It's essentially, I think, close to a 14-inch subwoofer if you were to be round, or 13 and a half round. So, and that was the other thing JL tried, right? Was the odd sized round subwoofers with the
Right.
big surrounds.
13
Yeah.
inch.
Oh, Eric Hansen said he had an L7. But yeah, they were really good in their time.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily believe they've updated them a whole bunch, so they're kind of
Hmm.
stuck in that time frame. So once you get into power compression, we got to a point where we were creating so much power and the acceleration was so fast on the motor, we were just breaking cones.
Hmm.
And then they switched to stitching cones,
Hmm. Onto the
and
surround.
the correct,
Yeah.
and that helped a little bit, but then we were just folding cones, just right in the middle, sticking the wrong way. So
With
uh,
the square subwoofers, would it depend? Well, how would the angle on the surround be? I know some had like it was, for lack of a better term, it was like ribbed,
so it was folded in the corners. It was a
folded.
regular, you know, crown shaped surround, but in the
Yeah.
corners they had like folded so it can have that extra play in the corners that it needs, because when you make that corner,
Yeah.
there's an extra length that corner has to go compared to the centers. So they did that by putting folds in the corners.
Mm.
Mike Watson says last sub I had in the 90s was a Sherwin Vegas stroker. Same thing, right? So they had the pole in the middle with the spider on top, right, attached to the cone, and the idea behind that, which I really to this day appreciate the stroker. Oh, did you win one, Jeffrey, or did you? We gave them
Mm.
away at World Finals, right?
Yes, I think Julius, Mac
Mac
Johnson,
Johnson,
yeah, he ended up winning it.
Mac Daddy won one, yeah. Anyway, the stroker, had the accordion surround to allow for extra excursion, and then to top it off, it had an extended pole piece that allowed to control the cone so it didn't get wobbly as it extended higher into the gap. Right? So I don't know what you learned. Let's see here. I have a 21 inch that handles 9,000 watts on music and 25,000 on a burp. I don't know what you learned while you're with your time at Crossfire, but when you were playing with subwoofers, I know you tried the Atomic.
Mhm.
You obviously tried Crossfire.
Right.
Probably I would guess the RE.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
also ran some T3 audio.
T3 Audio, that was another popular brand back then.
Yeah.
Mike Watson says I had 615s in a single cab blow through. The adjustable spider was a pain to readjust all the time.
Adjustable spot. Ah,
Yes,
okay. Yeah,
on
there was like
the
a
yeah
in the
there
in
was
the stroker.
yes on the
Okay.
stroker. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can adjust the spider a little bit. You can stiffen it up, loosen it up, push it down a little bit, right?
Interesting.
So what did you find that was helpful or more advantageous when you were going through the different subwoofer brands? I think you even did Earthquake, right? Or you
As
just
far
did
as
Earthquake
subwoofers,
amps?
yeah, the
Okay,
amps, the amps.
okay,
I think like a big, I don't even want to, well, it's probably wasn't like its invention at the time. It was
mm-hmm.
more of a hey, let's try this uh type thing that kind of led to higher SPL was I guess going from a round voice coil windings to flat.
Aluminum flat.
And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it was aluminum or
It
well,
was.
I'm assuming so. So
Yep.
yeah, and I think that was what Atomic was doing, and it kind of blew away. I think Jacob Fischer was running the Crossfire XTs, the
Okay.
early
Right.
iteration, and then switched to the Atomic, just a straight swap, and
Uh
then
huh.
had a jump in score. And then I think it was the different voice coil being used.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would probably want to be one of the biggest things. And then throughout the years,
Well, and then
um,
obviously from dual to quad coil, right?
right,
I mean,
yeah,
that was
well,
huge.
yeah, quad coil, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true too. Yeah, we're
Mike.
able to strap a pair of amps onto one voice coil and
Yep. And then you can have eight amps to one subwoofer.
stick.
Mike Watson says they self-adjusted the.
Oh, okay.
They did kind of. Oh, he had Diamond DC is what Eric Hansen says. Um, but so yeah, so I went to the flat wound coils. What that
Mm-hmm.
gave me is so when you're flat versus round,
Mm-hmm.
um, so the electronic field follows the shape of the coil, right? So if it's round like this, the the coil
Oh,
field
it's
does
like
that also, right?
turbulence.
Yeah. So that's a good definition of it, turbulence, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when we went to flat wound coils, I was able to close the gap and that gap to be more consistent all the way across the coil with the flat wound aluminum
Mm.
versus the round copper. And I was able to increase the BL on the sub, which is basically the motor force, right?
But it wasn't like it wasn't. I mean, it's been used like way before. I mean, like car audio was using it, right? Or I mean,
To be
it
honest,
wasn't
I
like
don't
something
know.
new. Ah, okay.
So I honestly don't know who started it.
Hmm.
But I do know I personally was on like the forefront of it because we
Mm.
went from I was doing my coils through Precision, and my rep from Precision called me and says, "Hey, you need to check out these new coils," and he sent me a pack of them, and he goes, "I want you to try something different. I want you to tighten up your gap. Do you have the opportunity to change your motors and tighten
Mm.
gaps and this and that?" I'm going, "Well, yeah, I do." And he goes, "Okay, tighten up your gaps. Um, let's see what you can do with these." And good lord, they were awesome. That
Mm.
you're right, and that changed the way I increased sensitivity and I increased motor force, right? So that worked phenomenal. Now, when you tighten up your gap too
Mm.
much, if you get any cone rock at all, it's fried. It's gonna rub,
Mm.
blow
Oh
your
yeah,
coil,
the rub.
right? Um, let's
I know
see.
RE had a super tight gap, and it was almost where that would be the failure. was it being super tight?
Uh,
Um,
that was Image Dynamics. You remember
okay.
the ID Max?
Hmm.
So that was the failure when we did it in the SPL build. Is
Mm.
the SPL guys would build a box that would make that cone just skirt maximum, and it would tip, and they would blow so quick. But
Yeah.
they were very. If you can control that cone, they were so good woofers. They were awesome woofers. So that was the ID Max. Let's see. Hanson says he had Diamond, Kicker, DC, DD, Kenwood, and Rossfire. I guess he means Crossfire.
Crossfire.
So if you've had all those, Eric, what's your favorite? What now? All the people that are here in the chat, why don't you tell us what your favorite woofer of all time was? Um, Not that the one you're running now. Like me, even though I manufactured subs and I really loved the ones I manufactured, I ran RE, I ran Beyond Audio, which were Don Hebig's. Um, I ran Eminem Godfathers, and for me, Eminem Godfathers subwoofers hold a special place in my heart because that was like the first real subwoofer I bought.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, that was awesome. I love those subwoofers. And I remember to this day when I read the warranty when I bought it, lifetime warranty guaranteed against anything except rodents and water damage.
Wow.
Those are the only two things that it excluded in its lifetime warranty.
So they warranty like, well, if you blow them, I mean,
Yes, if you blow them, they were over the counter warranty.
hey, that's pretty nice.
But you got to figure at that time, a big, huge amplifier was less than 1,000 watts.
Hmm.
So,
So, what could fry him? Like a dead short, or
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Somebody abusing them, free airing them, dead short,
Hmm.
stuff like that. But they did. They had a lifetime warranty. They were
Hmm.
hella cool. They were built right there in San Francisco, you know. So
Interesting.
for me in Reno, that was essentially about as close as you're going to get to a local brand, right? Um, like I said, that holds a special place in my heart just because they were awesome, and that was
Hmm.
my first real subwoofer. I was MIA for a lot of years, but my favorite, this is from Mike Watson, is what I have now, my custom Sundown XV3ZV6 hybrid. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wonder, do you think because of the woofers that we choose is because of availability, it's regional? I mean, like, how come we never tested like, well, obviously Sundown wasn't around when we were first compete. Well, I think they might have been like just starting, but
I don't
yeah,
think so.
why
Maybe
no?
towards the end of yours, they were
Yeah,
just starting, yeah.
right. Yeah.
When I was competing, they definitely weren't around.
I wonder why I mean, like, well, yeah, it wasn't around when we were like competing.
Well, you got to
Um,
understand too, when we're talking about when we were competing, the internet was in its infancy,
mm,
right? It wasn't like I can just go online and go to Amazon and buy some DC audio or whatever, right?
mhm.
Um, we had to buy what was available.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord of Base Manny in the house. Diamond used to have that warranty, according to Eric Hansen.
Yikes.
Um, but yeah, like I said, Eminem Godfather locally available, right? From San
Hmm.
Francisco to Reno, that's
Yeah.
nothing, right? Um, even when I was running Sonic FX, I did have a handful of competitors running on the East Coast. I had a couple of overseas, but 90% of the people that ran it were Reno
Hmm.
or California, right? So Nevada, California, and Florida were definitely the ones who ran it the most.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was a big advantage, I think, when we were competing was, you would look, well, first availability,
yeah.
but if they were local, if you
Hmm.
blow an amp, blow a subwoofer, you're just like maybe an hour or two away
Mm-hmm.
from the manufacturer. You can, I know that was the thing with Atomic.
Yep.
They were in Oxnard. It was probably like an hour and a half. We could get a recone, you know.
Yep.
Um,
And,
that
yeah,
was played a big part.
yeah, and really, George. I mean, if you can get past his wife, um, George,
That's
you
another
know,
story, but
yeah. But I mean, really, you walk in there with your subwoofer, George will take
yeah,
care of you,
yeah,
right? His wife put a stop to a lot of that stuff, but I mean,
hmm,
realistically, when you were dealing with Atomic,
yeah,
and that was the other thing too, right? So you weren't dealing with Atomic, you were dealing with George Wu, right? It wasn't
true,
Atomic, it was George Wu,
yeah,
right? That's like when
true.
DC Audio started. You weren't dealing with DC Audio, you were dealing with Rusty Flowers,
Hmm.
you know. And I think um, Roger has kind of became that guy for Crossfire for a lot of people too.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're not buying Crossfire, you're buying you know Roger. So
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah.
um, and that has to do with the customer service you get. A lot of people, like you said, I think a lot of people were, hey, what does my local store have, right?
Hmm.
And if your local store has something um, that they stand behind and they're willing to help you with, that might be what you run, you know, because it, you're buying a service. You aren't buying the equipment at some point, right? That's one of the things I have a problem with Don Hebe. Let's see here. Mike Watts says in Canada, it was all just buy new gear. No suppliers here. Yeah, I can believe that. Um, Manny says Sheena has very nice. Oh, he's very nice. Oh, George's
Sheena's.
wife. She always took care of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
She had
she had her
good
moments.
qualities.
Yes,
Yeah.
she had her moments. That's not a super common uh, story with her. I will just say, but I'm not saying it was a bad thing in any way, Manny. Um, the thing was, is she was trying to protect the business. And I
Mhm.
fully believe wholeheartedly George just was so proud of what he was doing and what he was producing, and without his wife, um, he would have let a lot go. You know, because I think he wholeheartedly believed in what he was doing and loved it and wanted to get it out. And his wife was more business minded in that respect than he was. That be your estimation too, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to check up on them and see how they're doing.
You know what? Maybe
Do a
I'll call
welfare check.
him. Yeah, maybe maybe I'll call George. He might not want to come on, right? Because his
Oh
English
yeah,
isn't the greatest.
I don't expect him to be on the show, but just see how he is. I mean, we talk about him and
Yeah.
this and that, but
I mean, we
just
we talk
how
about him
he's
in good
doing.
terms, right? Mostly and
Right.
stuff. So yeah, he was on the forefront of trying to get
Yeah.
bigger, badder amplifiers too. You know,
Hmm.
he was pushing the rules. Hey, you only want us to have 50 watts? Well, my amplifier says it's 50 watts. Yeah, but it's the same board in your 2,000 watt amp. Yeah, but it says 50 watts. So he wasn't the first one to do that, but he followed along suit with it. So
Yeah, he was. I think he was OEM for other brands,
he
which is
was
why he never granted anybody a tour of the facility
right.
because he was. And I don't know. Maybe you kind of talk about that a little bit. So if you're an OEM for essentially you're building woofers for other companies,
Uh huh.
and it's just in the same house as, like, say, Atomic was building woofers and they're OEM for another brand. Why wouldn't you want people to know that they're building your woofer? Because if you know that Atomic is a good woofer, wouldn't you want that recognition? Hey, my woofer, this company is being built by these guys.
So I was doing OEM,
Hmm.
and you absolutely have a non-disclosure with
Right.
those. So that's why you can't say that, show that. Um,
Who's it protecting? The well, the company or the
th-
manufacturer? Or
it's
kind
protecting
of
the
confusing.
company that's buying the sub because they don't want to share where they're getting their subs from because at
Hmm.
that point you could potentially just go to that same manufacturer and say, I want that sub.
Hmm.
Because that you can't patent a sub. So many people have tried,
Hmm.
but you cannot patent a subwoofer. So
Interesting.
um,
Well, I think, well, how, I mean, like, I think Dee, out of
mhm.
Oklahoma, I think they were, there was another company, SoundQ. This was like way back when. I know there's new owners now and stuff like that,
uh-huh.
but um, I think they were okay with, saying, hey, this is basically the same company, different brand woofer. Why is that okay? Like, as opposed to
It isn't.
your example, it's not
It isn't.
okay.
DD could have easily sued him for violating the non-disclosure.
Hmm,
Yep.
interesting.
Mike Watson says he needs any advice, he just calls Ray. Eric Hansen says, "Are you all safe from the protest?" Well, Eric, I'm about 350 miles from the protest, so I think I'm all right. Jeffrey is what, an hour, hour and a half?
Yeah, about an hour, about 60 miles east of
Yeah.
that. So,
So he's
yeah.
in a pretty good way from where he's at too. Just so you know. But yeah, that's interesting. So one who used to OEM a lot of subwoofers was RE before it was RE, right? Well, when it was RE.
Really?
Oh yeah, yep. As a matter
Hmm.
of fact, T3 Audio would get their parts from RE and then remake them. So that T3 motor that everybody back in the day was talking about, that was an RE motor.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know
RE
that.
developed it and everything, and then sold it to T3 Audio. So he was a parts assembler, is what T3 Audio was. He didn't engineer them. Now he did Frankenstein a lot of stuff. Hey, what happens when I put this and this together? How does that work? And he really was one of the guys on the forefront of offering basically whatever choice you want, right,
Hmm.
for a subwoofer. Not
Hmm.
that he was designing it for you, but he can say, hey, oh, you want the T3 motor with this cone and 7 spiders? All right, we'll send it out tomorrow, right? So, I mean, he was definitely one of the guys on the forefront of all that.
Wait, you mean R&D, not Frankenstein?
Yeah, but I mean, he
Research and
was selling
development?
it to the general public, right? Without
Hmm.
doing any research and development. But he was giving
Oh.
you, like, you as Jeffrey Fernandez, not as anybody in particular. You can call him up and say, "Hey, I want the T3 motor. I want 6 stiff spiders, 2 soft spiders, and this cone with this surround," and he'll make that for you. So that was one
Hmm.
of the things T3, and then and then he would assist. He would either build it or just send you the parts for you to build. Eric Hansen says, when is Doug getting to DFW? Same answer as last week. The paperwork started. I don't know when. When's Doug's first show in DFW? Probably after I get there. Uh, so, I mean, Eric, you can always run a 1X anytime you want.
uh, Anita just had a show in Texas this past weekend.
Oh, did she?
I don't think it was that close to where Eric was, but
Okay.
he could have drove.
Is Eric like right in the DFW area?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like I said, I had my 1 year evaluation with my boss today. It went way different than I expected. I expected to get fired after today with him, but
What?
yeah, him and I don't get along very well. And so anyway, but when it was all said and done, he was
Mhm.
like, "Man, you're just killing it out here. You're doing a great job." Blah 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 blah. All right, pay me. You know,
Wait, is that why he's okay with you going to
well, I
DFW?
I
Was
don't
so he
care.
could
I
get
don't
rid of
even
you?
care if he's okay with it or not. He's
Mhm.
one of the main reasons why I put him for DFW.
Ah,
So, and come to find out, the big projects I have over there are at Lovelace, the Lovelace Airport
where's that?
in Dallas. So
Love.
there's two airports. There's DFW, and there's Lovelace or Love Field. Love Field.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's it. Dallas Love. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was like those are the only two airports that we were able to fly out of was Dallas was Love
yeah,
and DFW. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
How big is that? I haven't even looked at that on Google Maps.
Ah, I want to say Love that well, I don't even know what they really call it, but I would say is a little smaller than Ontario Airport. I don't know if you're
Oh, okay.
familiar with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ontario
No, that's
International.
it's like a mid-size airport, right? Like a
Yeah.
smaller mid.
Hmm.
Oakland's kind of that way, right? It's two
Oh,
terminals,
okay.
30 gates, 36 gates total. So, probably
Hmm.
similar in size.
Oh yeah,
So,
Dallas Love Field.
uh, it was down in Cleveland right now. I don't know what that means.
What?
Is there a Cleveland, Texas?
Yes.
Oh, so that's what I meant. It was down. The show was down in Cleveland, Texas.
How far is that
Wow.
from?
Texas is a big ass state. It takes you 12 hours to drive across it.
Oh yeah, I recall Anita doing a show in Corpus
Corporate
Christi,
Christi, yeah.
and I told Dana we need to go, and then we looked it up, and it was like 8+ hours, and I was like, we might have to rethink that one.
Oh, he said it was 4 hours.
That's not too bad.
No, I mean that's like from you to Fresno, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's not horrible. But anyway, yeah. So you know, looking at subwoofers, do they even make the quad coil anymore? Did Crossfire have the quads?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. It adds a lot of weight, right, to the coil
Yeah.
because you got to have twice the windings. So yeah, it's and plus, with these 20 plus thousand watt amplifiers,
Yeah. Exactly.
you don't need to strap four to one coil and have 16 on a subwoofer.
I
So
recall when they're doing quad coils,
yeah.
somebody had mentioned octacoils.
So as a matter of fact,
It's crazy.
I did build an octacoil sub,
So that's 8 voice
8
coils.
voice coils. That speaker was so heavy.
I'm trying to think where, I, like on a basket, you would.
Yep.
I guess it depends. I mean, you could find a spot
You,
on the
you just
basket
bolt
to
into the basket and
terminate.
different. It was an experimental sub, so I didn't
Mhm.
make a quad coil basket, right, for
Or I
landing.
guess you can go direct leads. That's kind of crazy too.
Oh yeah, I didn't do
That's
that.
a whole lot of
I just
wires.
so what I did is I put the push buttons because I use the push button ones a lot in my
Uh-huh.
subwoofers, and I
Yeah.
just bolted them to the side of the
Oh yeah.
spokes.
Put some insulators on there.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. 4 hours away. Octacoil. That's a hell of a lot of a
You
wire.
were
That's
just
you're not
saying.
right. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's just north of Houston. Oh, so it was close to Wayne
Hmm.
Harris and them, right? They live in Houston,
I think Austin.
Austin. That's right.
They're in Austin,
They're in
so
Austin,
it's
Houston.
a
It's all the
distance.
same.
That's what I thought.
Until you drove there, like, holy crap,
Exactly. Yeah.
these ain't even
Yeah.
close. That's like saying Fresno and Sacramento. That's all about the same. So, but anyway, yeah, no, that's oh, I'm at my client's house anyway. uh, in the hot tub. That's what my sister just sent me. Having a good time watching downtown burn.
Oh no.
So yeah, I was just checking on my sister. For you guys that don't know, she lives in L.A. Roughly near Universal Studios. So whatever part of L.A. that is,
Mhm.
that's where she lives.
Yeah, I think that's a good distance away from downtown LA.
Yeah, that's what Jeffrey was telling me. So
Yeah.
I texted her, like, because I didn't really honestly. I listen to the news when I'm fishing. So
Hmm.
I didn't get an opportunity to go fishing all weekend, so I never turned on the
Oh,
news. And I was catching up from Thursday, and then I hit Friday, and all of a sudden they start talking about riots in LA. And I'm like, oh, I'm just now catching them, you know. So, but anyway, no. So subwoofer, we tried the quad coils. So we went. Another thing we did some testing with was a bunch of different formers, right? Because
hmm.
everything used to be a Kapton former, right? And then we went
Okay.
to aluminum formers.
Right.
Loses a crap ton of weight. We used to try vented formers. Did you ever try those?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The holes on the top.
Yeah, the holes on the
Hmm.
top. Vented
But
formers.
yeah, I mean, I guess they were pretty commonplace. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what's some of the other things. So, like some of my first vented formers I did, I literally drilled them in my garage.
Wow.
So, just, just start drilling holes.
Yeah.
Um,
What would I mean? It vented, so it means like it was able to be cooler, but it's still underneath the dust cap, right? So,
no, you vented them between the spider and the cone.
okay, I see what you're saying. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, you can vent them there. You can vent them under the dust cap because then you do a vented pole piece,
Hmm.
right? So that sucks the heat out from underneath the dust cap.
I recall RE didn't have like a vented pole piece. It
They
was
did
just
not.
yeah, yeah. So it was really hot.
It was really, really hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But you need that to cool off the voice coil and the
yeah,
internals and
yeah. One of the other things that we had a problem with was the glue that held the voice coil together.
mm,
When we started putting all this power to them, we were just literally melting the glue. And you obviously pulled apart a driver that had
oh
slinkied,
yeah,
as we call it.
slinky, yeah.
um, and the glues got so much better. And
Mm,
when I first started in the industry of making subwoofers, we were literally using CA glue. I mean, like super glue,
wow.
and it was hard,
Yeah.
and and it would just shatter. It would literally shatter when you start putting real power to it, and it would just break that triple joint, right? So then I got a call from Scott at RE. Dude, I got this new glue. Yeah, check it out. So he sent me some, and I'm telling you, I was paying more for an ounce of that glue than if I was buying gold. But
Wow.
I used to go into the stereo shops. I would lay a bead of that glue out, hit it with the activator, right?
Mhm.
It would get hard, and then you'd hit it with a ball peen hammer, and it wouldn't break. And then you take
Wow.
another, lay out a bead of regular CA glue, and hit it, and it would just shatter into a million pieces, right? And say, hey, look, this is what I'm using for my triple joint to help protect against failures. This is what other manufacturers are using. Buy my subwoofer. So,
Now
that was,
for that's for people that are unaware, the triple joy you're talking about where
oh,
the voice coil meets the cone, uh meets the spider. No, no, I'm
correct.
sorry, I'm sorry. Is
Yeah,
that right?
that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Spider cone voice coil.
I know there are different methods now,
Yes.
what people refer to as a triple joint. I've seen um like something as simple as like a rope. Somebody uses the rope, uses that as a triple joint. I've seen like Sundown uses this um it's like almost like a sleeve. I know it's gotten real high tech now where it's almost like a sleeve, and I think they
Uh-huh.
use that for the Steve Duncan woofers. But I think back in the day, it used to just be a bead of glue
Yeah,
on there.
exactly. Well, a bead of super glue, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Eric sent me a picture
Oh, you did.
of
What
the
is it?
where of Love Field. It's way
Oh yeah.
smaller than Oakland Airport.
I want to say this. Is it only Southwest that flies out of there?
I think so. And
I
so
think
we have a
so. Yeah.
national contract with Southwest.
Ah, okay.
So we already did the Sacramento version. I'm doing the Oakland version right now. I'm supposed to go to Dallas next, and then Wichita, Oklahoma City.
Mm.
So um, Mike Watson says I used regular CA once on a spider, and it lasted about 5 minutes. Oops.
Uh,
Yep, that's what we were talking about, Mike. We truly start out, and then what it was is they said they silicone infused the CA glue, which gave it
mm.
flexible properties.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we changed out to, and it worked really well. So yeah, I was actually around Mike Anke. He did the mouse. He was the first one that I noticed that was made a viable quad coil.
Oh, Shocker Mike.
Shocker Mike, yeah.
Ah. Yeah.
And yeah, he his was pretty dang cool. Um, I mean, he really opened the doors for more power, right? So he was
For what you said, it was a quad
for the
coil.
quad coil, yeah.
Ah, okay.
I mean, because still then we were looking at 1500 watt, maybe a 2000 watt amp at that time max, and you know when you can put 16 2000 watt amps onto a sub, it's gonna excurt. So yeah, it's a lot of
Don't
fun.
you um maybe a little bit off topic. Well, maybe a little bit
Uh huh.
on topic, but so uh people wanting to get the most out of their amplifiers
Yep.
use like 4 gauge speaker wire, right?
Yep.
Goes into the woofer into the terminal, but from that terminal to the voice coil, it's like
Tinsel lead.
you know,
Yeah.
tinsely. So it's like, you know, you, I don't know. I think I talked about it with Eric Hansen a while back. It was like, you know, people use this like really thick gauge wire from their amp to the woofer, but then you know, from the terminal to the voice coil, it's a tinsel lead that's like, you know, nowhere near as big as the speaker wire. So is there an advantage? I mean, if you're looking to get every watt out of your amplifier, there might be, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you're using like maybe 8 gauge wire and then you switch to 4 gauge, you might see some kind of difference. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was like it all goes to the tinsel leads anyway, and
Yeah.
they're barely like maybe
Oh,
I
things
don't
are
know,
like
14,
what
12.
14 or 12 gauge. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I used to the tinsel leads were tinsel silver colored, right? So I used to
Hmm.
braid two of them together on my subwoofers. So
Hmm.
I would literally twist a pair, and that would be
Yeah.
one tinsel lead. And then I would
Okay.
solder it, mechanically fasten it. That was the other thing I did,
Yeah.
right? So when I attached it to the coil, I didn't just solder it to the coil. I put
Yeah.
a clip on it that I would hand clamp and then solder it, and then hand clamp the negative, solder it, and then push them up against the cone and glue them. Right? I don't know if that's how you still do it.
Onto the you glued it onto the cone.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's just how we did it back then because
Yeah.
you had the tinsel lead. The lead off the coil was probably inch and a half,
Hmm.
right? So you would fold it over, or you would put the mechanical fasten. You'd overlap them like that, put a band around them, clamp that, and then you would solder them, and then you would use the triple joint glue to glue it to the edge of the cone,
Hmm.
just so it wouldn't flop around. because when we started adding more power, we started
Mhm.
ripping tinsel leads. I'm sure you remember
Yes.
that.
Oh yeah. That was a big issue, I think, with RE for a while.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I think their tinsel leads, they had this big kind of like, well, I don't want to mix up words, but arch. Like
Yep.
they have this big arch and then it goes to the terminal. And when you put a lot of power to it, tinsel leads go nuts. It hits the cone. It
Yep.
sometimes
Then we had
it
cone
might,
slap. Yep.
yeah, cone slap. And then I think for a while they had put like
Put the
some
pad.
a pad, or yeah, I always thought it
Yep.
was like some kind of carpet, but
Yep.
they did that for a while. And then I think just well, I don't know if it's just recently, but now it's you see every woofer it's woven onto the spider as opposed to that, that arch.
Mike Watson says, "Can he tip through PayPal? I'm in Canada. Don't have the other apps. Do you have a PayPal he can tip to?"
Yeah, I got PayPal.
Yeah. What? Share your PayPal with him so he can send you something.
Okay,
Because I don't have PayPal.
do that.
I realize that PayPal's not the same as when it started, but when
No?
it started back in maybe 2006, 2005, um, I got a bunch of money stole from me on PayPal, so I haven't used them
Ooh,
since. So I'm a non PayPal guy, but Venmo isn't Venmo PayPal?
I don't believe so.
What one of them
They're two
is
separate.
Cash App or Venmo. One of those
Oh,
two
they
is
are?
PayPal. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, yeah, PayPal itself I haven't used since that time that I got a bunch of money stolen.
Yeah, I
But
think early on, I mean, in its inception, I
yeah,
think they were really prone to that. But yeah, now they've probably been through it all. So
yeah, I don't doubt they're safe. I just
mhm.
honestly, Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle cover 99% of anything I ever do. So
Yeah, but thanks for asking, Mike Watson.
yeah, we appreciate the tips. We do appreciate it. I mean, these it cost us money to run this thing. We appreciate whatever we get. Eric Hansen was a supporter for a very long time. We had Badass Sounds by Steve for a while. We had Stolman Transportation. We had lots of Watts. We've had a handful. We had Crossfire for quite a while,
Mhm.
sponsor the show. So yeah, we appreciate whatever we get. Thanks a lot. Just need an email.
I'm trying to see it. I just realized again we're on YouTube only. I was gonna send him a private message on Facebook, but is there a way to do that on YouTube? I assume there is. I believe there is.
To be honest, I don't know. I haven't been able to figure it out. Eric Hansen says Venmo. Venmo's part of YouTube, PayPal now. Um, yeah, you know what, Mike? Send me an email on Doug at sonicfxaudio.com, and I'll share that with Jeffrey, and he can send you his email.
Ah, okay. I was
So
gonna put my email on here, but I don't know if I want to do
yeah, if you don't
that.
want to do that, my Doug at sonicfxaudio.com is a very public email, so that's an easy one. Oh, that's Mike. He's Slider9969. So, but anyway, yeah, we're gonna try out some different stuff next week. Chat GTP suggested a couple of people. I can reach out to them. When's your next show, Jeffrey?
uh, to be determined.
I, I'm not a fan of that.
There was a show just this past weekend. It was another organization,
Oh, okay.
and one of the the previous sponsors of my event was
Uh,
there, and he's like, "Oh man, everybody's asking me when are we gonna do the next show? When are we gonna do the next show?" And I'm like, "Okay, well that's kind of cool, but we're trying to get that figured out."
okay.
Yeah, I'm just really concerned about the heat being summertime now.
Right. And not
But
doing night shows,
and
huh?
well, I'm thinking about night shows. I mean, I've done like a few in California.
Uh
I
huh.
know in Texas, when we were doing them at a Crossfire, it was a good location to do night
Right.
shows.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was lit up, being the industrial area, but
Mm-hmm.
like shops and I know we've done a few like at Tune Time. That
Mm-hmm.
actually, I can recall one. I think we were there really, really late, so that's another thing to think about also.
Oh, are you on Twitch?
Me?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Yeah. Just send me something on here. I'm gonna reply to it and send it.
Oh, okay. There
Uh,
you go.
Doug at sonicfxaudio.com. Yeah, just oh, dude, I ain't about to freaking it. I lost my whatever. Um, you know what? I can go here. Let me type it in YouTube.
Oh yeah,
I can do there.
that'll be just
Doug
as good.
at sonicfxaudio.com. Yeah, I got good filters on that and whatnot. So um, there we go. So
Oh, nice.
so there we go. I put it on there for you guys. Um, yes, just send me a blank email. Said, hey, I'm Mike Watson, and I'll respond to you with Jeffrey's email. But other than that, I want to say congratulations to Joel if he's still in here. Great job putting on a show. He did it at Mello's Auto, which is freaking awesome. Oh wait. Oh, he said you were in Texas and did a day show in August. Jeffrey,
Yeah.
that sounds miserable.
Oh yeah. I think that was at Fred's shop at Voodoo Customs, and
Oh, okay.
we were kind of in and out of there.
Yeah.
But he was nice. He had a big old shop fan that
Mm.
he put on us, and we were able to set up in his install bay.
Oh.
So we just kind of lowered the door, so when it got really hot.
Over at Jay's Alarms, they have a huge, huge swamp cooler that's probably 6 foot tall.
Oh, I've seen some of those. Yeah,
Yeah, that made it
yeah.
really nice. So, oh, he sent it to me. When we're done with this, I will. When we're done, I'll talk about it offline. Oh, there it is, Mike Watson. Um, and then you can give me your email that you want me to send it to him. Well,
Okay.
let me see. Hold on. I just want to see if I have this in here. Reply all. Um, is it XS? It's not XSSPL, right?
As the email,
Yeah.
I could send it to you right now, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, send it. I'm just seeing if I have it on my in my phone already. I'm sure I have it. Oh yeah, 2X. I got it. Yep, I got it. I did have it in my email once I typed your name
Ah,
in. So I was like, man, I've been doing stuff with you for a very long time between, judging and all that stuff, right?
yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, there's no way I don't have your email. But, oh shit, I got 96 emails. Good lord.
Is that it?
Well, I,
It's like
I go through my
oh,
emails like 6 times a day. So, yeah, I got a
Joel
lot of
commented
freaking.
here. Says his next show will be at Race Wars this Sunday at Sonoma. Wait, this Sunday's Father's Day, isn't it?
It is. Oh, yeah, next show will be at Race Wars this Sunday at Sonoma Raceway. There you go.
Oh, I think that was a multi-org. I think it was with
Yes.
Pimley.
Iasca. Yep. Pimley. Yep. Pimley, a new father. He doesn't understand Father's Day yet. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm assuming Race Wars probably booked that day way in advance,
Yeah,
and
probably 2 years ago or something.
just happened to be on Father's Day. But
Yeah,
I mean, uh, I really don't like, putting on shows,
on
major
holidays.
holidays.
Yep.
I know we used to do a show at Toon Time around this time of the month or this time of the year, and
Memorial.
it was near Father's Day.
Oh, okay.
And then we would call it a Father's Day show, but it would always be on a Saturday.
Got you.
So you could, spend time with your father on Sunday. But
Well,
his show,
Autorama used to be on uh, Valentine's Day.
oh man,
That didn't hurt my turnout. I'm just saying.
no, oh well, it's a big event. Yeah,
Yeah.
good show.
Joel says, I ask a DB Dragon, you sucky.
Yeah, I asked DP Dragon.
Yep. So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to cut out of here. I thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, us rambling about subwoofers and what we used to do. It wasn't boring you guys, but you guys be part of it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you guys have a guest that you'd like to see on here, just let us know. I'm gonna try what Chat GTP talks about. PayPal done. There you go, Jeffrey.
Oh, nice, awesome, got it.
So,
Cool.
thank you, Mike. We
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Um, we'll be on YouTube, or YouTube, obviously. We'll be on all the iHeart, iTunes, all that will be on there again tomorrow. So if you guys have missed any shows or would like to listen back to any of them or miss the show live, you can always go to YouTube or you can go to any of the streaming services, iHeart, Apple, iTunes, and all that stuff, and download and listen to it at your leisure. So, Jeff, any final thoughts?
Oh, I was just thinking, I wonder if I know YouTube does something like a super chat
They
where
do. They do have a super chat.
is this channel enabled
Yes.
or okay. I wonder if he could have just sent a super chat.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, because he's foreigner, I don't know if
Oh,
you
okay.
can, right?
I know a YouTuber that I watch. He people
Yeah,
send
me
him
too.
super chats and then he would like specifically shout them out,
Yep.
when they would send a super chat. And I'm like,
A
he could
bowling
do
one
that.
I listened to.
Uh-huh.
Um, they have moderation, activity, reaction. Um, they have. They'll answer any question about bowling, even if it's not a
Oh.
appropriate question about bowling. If you
But
pay a super chat.
once you send, okay, you do the super chat,
Yeah.
which in essence is just you're sending the money, and then it becomes like highlighted in the chat, and
Yep.
then they'll get notified of it, and then okay,
Yep. So
that's kind of
I don't
cool.
know how that works on the back end, but I do know they. I mean, and it's stupid how much they make. I bet you they make $600 in super chats a day. So
Wow,
yeah.
must be
So must
nice.
be nice.
But yeah, shout out to Mike Watson here
Yeah,
for
appreciate
you
it.
know the tip. So we appreciate it.
All right, guys. We will see you next week, 6:30 California time, the only time that matters. Hope you guys enjoyed this little chat. Like I said, if you got somebody that you'd like to hear on here or want us to pull in, I peruse on Mondays the. Oh, Mike says he can't see. I will figure that out this week. See if we can't fix that
Hmm.
on YouTube, since YouTube wants to be friendly to us and Facebook doesn't. Um, anyway, the uh, we'll try some things that Chat GTP says. You guys might be interested, but like I said, if you guys have somebody that you want us to have on the show, please share it with us. You can hit us on Instant Messenger. You can hit me on YouTube. You can hit me on Facebook, Jeffrey, whatever, and we'll see what we can do about getting them on here. And
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, it, we've done about 250-ish shows, and with that being said, we've only repeated our same guest, I think, 5 or 6 times. So that's pretty solid, Jeff. Other than nobody, we've repeated nobody more than that. So, but yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys have the rest of a great Monday night. If you're in the LA area, be safe.
Yes.
Like I said, we'll see you guys next week on This Week in Car Audio. Peace. We out. All right. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Mike says he can't